people sat on one side of the room. It's really cute, the camaraderie. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's emergency debate is going to be replaced by the Hustings for the election for Michaelmas 2017. We will start with the candidates for treasurer, and we will start with Myles Keckwick, a third year from Girton College. Second year, obviously.
Thanks. I'm not quite that old just yet. I've still got some youth in me. So thanks for coming in for week 7. As I woke up this morning, I knew I'd been in Cambridge too long when the beautiful sunny weather didn't make me happy but sad because it makes you think of exam term. But anyway, thanks for coming in. And to introduce myself, I'm a second-year historian and currently head of press here at the Union and was head of publicity last year. And ever since I set foot in Cambridge last year, the Union has been a place that has been super enjoyable to be involved in. And for this reason, I'm going to be running for treasurer for Michaelmas term. Outside of the Union, I play tennis badly for the university tennis team and write about sports badly for the student press. But if elected, I'd want to make the Union a more open, accessible and financially secure place for its members and the institution. So first, I want to continue and consolidate the great work done by next term's treasurer, Shona Decoria, on Treasurer's Committee, so we can crowdsource new ideas from members on companies that may want to work with us for sponsorship in the future. And second, and most importantly probably, is getting sponsorship. So having discussed this with Shona as well as the Bursar, I'm aware that it's very important to secure sponsorship from big city firms over the summer, which is when they do their annual sponsorship rounds for societies and universities. And this is very important for the financial health and stability of the Union, because these are quite big sums of money involved. And my experience working with the sponsorship managers of large consultancy companies as head of logistics at the Cambridge University Consulting Society will, I think, help me get a good deal for the Union. And this is quite boring, but it's quite an important factor because it will ultimately mean that we can provide more free entertainment and more free events for our members. Third, I would divert more resources into access work. For instance, funding bursary memberships at the Union, as well as encouraging or working with the university to encourage school parties that are visiting colleges. I'm sure you've all had school parties coming past your room outside in your colleges, and the university is doing more of that, and I want to bring them into the Union to kind of demystify what we do for people coming up to Cambridge. Finally, I would work with next term's treasurer on strategies to communicate members' discounts and on goods and services around Cambridge more effectively. So a lot of the time you don't really, even I don't know every single discount I'm entitled to around Cambridge in pubs and bars, etc. So I think if we put that at the end of a weekly email, it would work much better. So in conclusion, I encourage you to vote Myles treasurer for a Myles better Union. I'm here all week. And I welcome any questions. Thanks very much.
Does anyone have any questions for Myles? Yeah.
If you want members to be more aware of their discounts, why don't you print them on a little credit card type piece of paper, insert it into the time card, which we can cut out and keep in our wallets, and then instead of having to refer to emails which we don't normally carry about with us, we'd have it on our person.
Thanks. That's a great suggestion, actually. And if elected, I'll be sure to try and work for that for the Michaelmas term. Good idea. Any other questions?
Great. Any other questions for Myles? No. All right. Super. Thank you, Myles.
Great, thanks.
All right. And now, also standing for treasurer, we have Sam Longton.
Hello. Right. Thank you, Madam Returning Officer, members. So I stand before you today to ask for you to vote for me as your treasurer. I have met many of you over the past term as a membership officer, and from the conversations that I've had with you, I have created my manifesto. Before I begin, I do have a small confession to make. I've been with my family all day, enjoying myself very much. So if you can't understand the policies that I'm talking about, we'll blame that on the wine and not on my policies. So, first off, my manifesto can be broadly divided into 2 areas: members and treats. So we'll deal with members first. The first thing that I would like to do is rethink the way that we do access here at the Union. I As a membership officer, this has been my pet peeve over the past term. I really don't think that £110 is accessible for someone who's on a full Cambridge bursary. We really don't want to shut people out of this building. We don't want there to be a barrier to members who want to come. And I think actually the union is better and stronger if we are as accessible as possible. So I will seek to lower the access cost that we charge. Secondly, on members, I would also argue that we need to rethink our fee structure. I would say that if we lower our fees, we will end up with more members because the price is more accessible. If we do this, this will lead to more people attending our debates. And this makes it easier to secure high caliber speakers week in, week out. Now then, with more members attending our debates and more high caliber speakers coming to our debates, we will find it easier to secure sponsorship deals and to attract the really high level of sponsors that the union needs. Overall, this is going to lead to a better financial situation for the union and will be good for all members. So we'll end up with a financial base that is strong, more members, better debates. I think this is a good thing. Thank you. The second area is treasurer's treats. Do we get 3 minutes or 2? 3, okay, thank you. The second area is treasurer's treats. Some of you will know what these are. Many of you won't know what these are. I myself am an avid fan of the 10% discount you can get at the Cambridge Cheese Shop. I run a cheese society in my own college, so I'm rather a fan of this. You might tell by my cheese belly. But as well as maintaining the current format, I also want to move to weekly discounts. So these will be deeper than the usual discounts, and they will go out alongside the weekly email. We'll be able to secure these easily because our membership do have a sway on Cambridge businesses. This will make membership better value for money when you get your weekly discount. And of course, there's all the usual stuff about working with the vice president, etc., etc. I'm an experienced and eager member, and I really would appreciate your vote. If you're my friend on Facebook, you'll be hearing a lot about it tomorrow. If you're not, I'd ask where you've been for the last term. Please vote Sam for treasurer. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask Sam? No? All right, there we go.
Why do you think that if we had more members, we'd have more people at the debates? We already have far more members than ever come to any particular debate.
Yeah, this is true. So I think one of the big things with union debates is if your friends are going, you're far more likely to go. And if we increase the number of people that have union membership, we're going to increase the number of people that go, hang on, I really enjoy this debate, I'm going to go. And then because lots of my friends have union membership, I'm going to go with them as well. So I think that's the way that we naturally build up more people attending our debates.
Thank you. Anyone else? It's your chance to get involved in the democratic process. No? All right, cool. Thank you, Sam. All right, next we'll have our candidate standing for Social Events Officer. That is Jolly.
Hi, I'm Jolly. I'm a first year studying PBS at King's, and I'm running for Social Events for Michaelmas 2017. This term I've been on full committee as Deputy Guest Liaison Officer, and basically from really enjoying this and enjoying the union, I've decided I'd like to get more involved. So I'm going to briefly go over some of the points in my manifesto and just expand on that, and then I'm happy to answer questions after that. Obviously, my main focus for Michaelmas would be the Freshers' Ball, but I'm also looking into the possibility of doing another kind of big event in the Michaelmas term, which would be more in the style of a Bridgemas party or a dinner. I know this was done a few years ago in 2010, and there was a sort of ice rink in the Blue Room, and that was all for the sort of reasonable price of £30, £40. So I think building on an event such as that would be great towards the end of the term, just to attract existing members, as well as, of course, appealing to freshers in the first few weeks. So yeah, building on some of the stuff which has been said by the previous treasurers who are running, Freshers' Week's really important, obviously, for uptake, and I kind of look to extend that towards maybe like lesser represented groups at the union, so there'd be sort of LGBT plus evenings, stuff for the grads evenings and international students, as well as what was done this year, which was the Freshers' Brunch. Something along those lines would be really good for appealing to new members early on in their time at Cambridge. So in addition to that, I'd look to try and increase the number of events we have after the debates and after the speaker events here. So obviously you've got a large number of people who have come for an event, and so trying to improve what's available in the bar and what's available throughout the union for them would be one of the main things I'd try and focus on. And also look to utilise more of the union, like the space here. So obviously there's a lot more than just the chamber and the bar area. There's the whole underground part to it. And I think just building on that and looking at if we can sort of open more of that up to use would be great. Possibly looking at the squash courts as well, which I didn't even know existed until very recently. And just making full use of this building, essentially. So I've just really enjoyed my time here. I'd really appreciate your vote tomorrow. And I look forward to working alongside other members on the standing committee to provide a exciting Michaelmas term card. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much. Does anyone have any questions for Jolly? No? All right, cool. Thanks very much then. Cool. All right, turning now then to our candidate for Speaker's Officer, we have Charles Connor.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and honoured guests. And what a pleasure it is to be standing here actually speaking, rather than cowering on those back benches, hoping that nothing goes wrong. That's what I've been doing for the last 8 weeks. I've still got 2 more to go, so cross your fingers, pray for me. I'm going to need it. So today I'm going to be speaking about why I think I'd be a good candidate for the Michaelmas Speaker's Officership. So I'm going to focus upon my vision and also my experience for the role. Let me be frank. There are profound problems concerning how the union goes about securing speakers. Compare and contrast with Oxford. I know that's a comparison which we don't like to make, but it's a comparison which we have to make. I'm not saying that we should be entirely like Oxford, but I'm saying that we should look at what they do well and learn from good practice, because it is seriously good practice. Positive moves have definitely been made in that direction. Anna's doing a fantastic job there. Jonah, who's going to be doing it next term, is doing an equally brilliant job. But those need to be driven forward. They need to be actualized. We need to start thinking long term about the biggest names. We need to sort out our systems. If any of you here in vacation committees, for example, have used our speakers tracker, you'll know it's a bit of a joke. In fact, it's more than that. It's a complete joke. It's a color-coded tangle of information in which connections are lost, positive relationships forgotten, and networks eroded. Most importantly, we need to create the best possible term card for Michaelmas. More speakers, more varied speakers. That's how we'll boost membership. And membership is the most virtuous of cycles, as Sam has just so eloquently expressed, as I'm sure Paige will also go on to say. So how can I achieve that best possible term card? I know the union. I think that's a really important thing. As executive officer this term, I've sat in on the high-level strategic meetings. I know how things work. I organise the logistics behind every debate this term. I personally coordinated the Islam and America debates. I secured the congressman panel, which we're hosting tomorrow, and that's a shameless plug. You should all come. It's going to be fantastic. I confirmed 22 speakers, including Sir Malcolm Rifkin, Jonathan Bartley, John Lehman, Mika Stirinder, and Tariq Ramadan, who spoke last week. So if we want Michaelmas to be a turning point, which I really think it can be, we need somebody with experience at the tiller. I've been through the life-changing struggle, which is inheriting a SharePoint account. I've crossed that Rubicon. I can hit the ground running and hopefully make a real difference with some of these wonderful people beside me. Let's make a brilliant Michaelmas, and it would be fantastic if I could secure your vote tomorrow. Add me on Facebook, like the event. Perfect. Thanks very much.
Charles, hang around. Does anyone have any questions for Charles? Yeah,
Owen.
there. Do you want to give him your mic? Cool.
Ta. Yeah, of course, obviously Michaelmas is the most important term of the year in terms of people will go to the Freshers' Fair, will look at the term card, and it is that term card which will make them decide if they're going to join or not. But could you just, on a different note, explain for the uninitiated, please, what you mean by what things Oxford are doing?
So this is something which so there have been discussions about this in standing committee. I don't know how much I can say in terms of constitutionally, But there are definitely processes, and especially internet processes. I'm a historian. I'm still struggling to come to terms with those. But like, there are definitely systems which they have in place which we can learn from. Also in terms of a larger speakers committee. So something which I was very keen for in terms of the debates lineup for this term, I made sure we set up a debates committee for the first time for quite a long time. So we had 15, 16 people working there. I appreciate that's going to be harder in Easter term because we've all got, frankly, better things to be doing. But, I mean, if we can build something like that which allows us to handwrite invitations, I think that's so crucial. If you get sent an invitation, if you get sent an email, most of us, when we get an email, look at it and put it, especially if it's from Kusi. Sorry, Kier. But that might change, but I'm not getting politicized here. Sorry, I'm going to watch myself very carefully. But scrap that from the records. But what I'm saying is, if you get an actual personalized letter, you're far more likely to respond to it than you are an email which has clearly been sent to like 50 people. I don't know, that's how I feel. I rambled a bit there, but hopefully I answered your question.
Does anyone else have any questions for Charles? Oh, great, thank you very much. All right, and now on to our candidate for executive, which is Andrea.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea. I'm a second year and I'm running to be your executive officer for Michaelmas. Hopefully after this speech I will have managed to persuade you to vote for me tomorrow and not for reopening nominations. Some of you might have seen me around, in which case that probably says more about me than it does about you, as I have spent way more time in this building than I'm comfortable admitting, like neglecting my degree all the way since my first year, so there's that. I have been on committee since my second term of first year, and most recently this term I was the social events officer. So what that means is that I secured a lineup of social events for this term, like the comedy evening last night, which some of you might have attended. I organized a spring ball this year, and I also organized and coordinated 2 debates this term, namely the prostitution and the comedy debate, so I also have experience with that, and just in general just help with the day-to-day running of the union's activities. So I do know the challenges of running smooth and successful events because I have been dealing with these challenges for many terms now. And this is actually one of the executive officer's main roles, the running and overseeing of all the events that we put on in this building. But besides like my experience, I mostly want to talk about what I actually plan on doing in Michaelmas. So another one of the executive officer's roles is securing and organizing a lineup of debates for their term. So debates which challenge your views are basically kind of like what we do here. They're basically the stated purpose of the union, defending free debate. And I can honestly say that even before I was involved with the union, attending debates was probably one of the highlights of my membership. And this is something that I want to replicate across all the members in Michaelmas. I want us to put on relevant and topical motions that people will want to come and see. And in doing this, I want to refer back to the feedback forms which we send out every term and kind of see the debates that you guys want to see, because ultimately that is what matters. Also, the membership officers have been getting some feedback during the past 2 terms about what they kind of want to see, and I'll also refer back to those. Another one of my aims is bridging the gap between the debating side of the union, which unless you're a debater, you probably don't know too much about, and kind of the other side, which is everything else that we do. I feel like these 2 sides can sometimes feel quite separate, so I would like to work closely with the debating officers to kind of remedy this and support the work they're doing in this building. I also want to hear more student debaters. I mean, personally, some of the best speakers I've heard in this chamber have been students. Now, I know everyone comes here to hear like the A-lister speakers, like celebrities, famous people going head-to-head, and to be honest, that is also the reason I attend debates myself. But I don't feel like you have to compromise that side to kind of also support and encourage debaters to get more involved. Lastly, I just want to make a quick reference to the way members can get involved. Now, I know that we have debates committee, we have debates deputies, we have vacation committee. But I would like to publicize these more, and I would like to formalize ways of getting involved. Like, if you have an official position, like debates deputy, and you write, I don't know, 30 invites per week, I want you to be rewarded for the work you're doing, whether that's with debate dinners or attending socials, because ultimately, we rely on you guys for everything that we do, and I think that everyone's hard work should be rewarded accordingly. I would say more, but I've run out of time, so I'm just going to conclude with saying that I genuinely care about this place. This is why I'm running now for the second time. So, if elected, I will make sure to put on a good term because I do value the work that we do here. So please vote for me tomorrow. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for Andrea? No worries. Anyone? Yep. Do you want to pass the mic to...
What would you have said if you'd had more time?
I was going to mention the audiovisual system, which I think it's high time we improved it. I personally have been guilty of doing my essays while live streaming some debates, and I know the quality is not the best, and I think we should improve that. I was also going to make a point about diversity, how that's a really important facet of what we do here. We should have more diverse speakers, but not just kind of what you think of when you hear the word diversity, like diversity of race or gender. Basically, I don't want us to have a debate where all 3 or 4 speakers on proposition or opposition, it feels like they're saying basically the same thing. So there's lots of different types of diversity, and I would like to incorporate that in what we're doing. So those were like the other 2 points I would have mentioned.
Thanks. Does anyone else have any questions? No? Super. Thank you very much, Andrea. All right, last and by certainly no means least, we have our candidate for president, Paige.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for being here at Hustings tonight. I'm Paige, and I would really appreciate your vote for union president. This is a really exciting time for union members as we're looking to go through a lot of change. And my manifesto is not one of more of the same, but it is about real change. And I hope that I have the experience, the dedication, and the care to really deliver on this. It's really important to me that your voice as a member is the most important one in this union. We often hear that we're a free speech and debating society, which we are, and at the heart of this, I think we are a membership society. So more than any other high-profile speaker's voice, your voice as members needs to be valued the most. My main offer to you, broken down into 5 key aims, is to make sure that this union feels like your union and the team you elect as a member make you the primary focus. The 5 aims your vote would support are, firstly, making sure that this is your union. This means creating a better value union. It means making sure that we do things like having pre- and post-event question submissions or feedback mechanisms, and by delivering a better value union that puts on events all week long so that we're not just a one-day-a-week union. A focus on all of our members also means everyone from undergrads to grads and also the graduated student members of our membership. Secondly, a long-term view. I think across all the candidates tonight, we've had a really nice focus beyond just one term at the union, but actually looking at harnessing experience and valuing the institutional memory of this place to make sure that we're investing in the future, investing in better infrastructure, delivering better speakers. Thirdly, debating for everyone, which involves both the continued support for the world-class debaters that we have here, but also making sure we have as many opportunities for people to learn from scratch in a really unintimidating environment. I think that better integration of the emergency debates that usually take place in this slot, and also making sure that we revive our Huffington Post platform so we can have a bit of online debate for members too, are really nice ways to start doing this. The 4th aim is all about a critical and careful approach to our speaker lineups, both individuals and within the debates. I think it's really important that we're responsive to members' input on this, and also to have constitutional support for our women's diversity and access officers, who are key to delivering high-quality debate with diversity of opinion. Finally, an aim to work on accounts and accountability, both by making sure that you all know where your fee goes and then that you can hold the officers to account. As well, I would really like to make a commitment to a fee freeze at the very least, and also to conduct a fee review so we can make sure that if we can lower fees, we do, and also improve the value of the current membership offers. 3 years ago, I signed up as a member of this union, and 2 years ago, I'd been to about a handful of events and felt that I hadn't got much value from my membership yet. In the past year or so, I have been Secretary, Social Events Officer, and then Head of Membership, and worked with 5 committees on everything from our high-profile speakers to the 2016 garden party. I've also ended up having a lot of conversations inside and outside this building about this building. Now I'm asking you for your vote to be in that chair, something that 3 years ago honestly seemed impossible, and something that I want to feel like a real possibility for you and every member, and not just a few. For your union to be accountable and defending free speech, but not at too high a price. For your union to take a critical and responsive approach with speakers, having diversity as first thought and not an afterthought. For your union to take a long-term view, and above all, for your union to truly feel like yours, so that you know the person in the chair is listening and actively wants to hear from you, and you know that maybe you could be up here too one day and also asking to be in that chair. Please do support a member-focused union, and please vote Page tomorrow online. Thank you very much.
Super. Does anyone have any questions for Paige?
I'd really love any questions at all. It can be on manifesto stuff, on something you want to see.
Come on, member-focused
Yeah,
union.
over there. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Hi.
Hi.
So you mentioned online debate. Does this mean that you will give the try to give the chance for people who are watching online to intervene during the debate? If this is the case, how are you going to do this? Just
That exists.
out of curiosity.
You can tweet during debates. We have a hashtag. If you tweet the hashtag and at Cambridge Union, we'll mention your comments in the floor speeches.
Yeah,
Sorry to
but-
interrupt, but like that's...
Okay, so but will this be like live? Can they just intervene and ask questions? I mean, during the debate.
Yeah, so thank you very much for picking up on that. I definitely would like the entire debate experience to be as interactive as possible. In the chamber, that's all about having points of information, points from the floor as a norm. But you're completely right in terms of online debate, being able to send in questions via the Twitter, like Kate mentioned, which is already very successful, and then elaborating that out so that people can do that before an event, during an event, so that we do get that interaction beyond just this room. I think the other point that I mentioned about online debate was to do with, we have a platform with the Huffington Post, and it's gone underused in the past couple of years. I think it's a real way that we can have members put forward their views and then interact via the articles and the blog style on there. And so that's another way I'd hope to do that. Thank you for the question.
Any other questions? No? All right, thank you all very much. Thanks, Paige.
Thank you.
That concludes tonight's hustings. Polls will open tomorrow at 8 a.m. and they will close at 6 p.m. You can vote online at cus.org/elections, and then if you click on the election for Lent 2017 brackets for Michaelmas 2017, you can vote there for each and all of the candidates, as in for each and all of the positions for your chosen candidate. If you are unable to do that and you want to vote in person, there will be a computer set up at the union, but there won't be any paper ballots. So all of the voting takes place online, and we will return the election within about half an hour. With that, I'd like to thank all of the candidates and very much encourage all of you to vote tomorrow.